Hey everybody, the video you're about to watch that I recorded in the shop is probably one of the more difficult videos that I have recorded in the history of all the videos that I've made. Now the reason for that is not because the subject matter is overly complex or difficult, it's because it was really difficult to make it through the entire video without dying of laughter. Now, there's a couple reasons for that. Once you see the video, I think you're going to understand. Part of it's probably because I'm immature, probably because I've also probably got a perverted sense of humor. Both of those things are probably true, but I thought it was really important to address these questions that come up a lot. Having been a fabricator for so long, it's been 25 years and nobody has ever stopped in my shop and told me the right applications for specific caulkings. Now, when it gets to the silicone portion of the video, you'll notice that I've been using silicones completely wrong most of my career, and that's because nobody educated me. I've been using silicones to bond things to the wall. I've been using silicones to adhere sinks to the bottom of countertops, and I will say it has worked. For 20 plus years, I've been doing it that way, and we've had no issues. I did not know that the silicone truly was not a structural adhesive, and it was just made for sealants. So as you watch this video, keep those things in mind. Try not to laugh. It is kind of funny. There is one point where the cover blows off the tip in the air, and I mean, it took everything I could not to die of laughter. You'll see I walk off screen. That's the only edit you're going to see in the video. But yes, I think I did a good job keeping it professional. I did not die of laughter. There will be some more awkward pauses in this video than some of my other ones, just because it really took everything I had to keep a straight face with some of the things I was saying. That being said, I think we covered some important things in this video that can help you take your countertop fabrication business to the next level. And I also wanted to let you know that Big Dog Adhesives did acquire Axiom recently. So if you are looking for colored silicones or you are looking for the high-tech MS polymer, you can go here to this website and you can learn more about those products and you can order them. You can also get them from your local distributor in the area because Big Dog is working with lots of distributors around the US. And if the distributor is not carrying these products currently, they will be shortly. So like I say, enjoy the video. If you have any questions, as always, reach out. We love helping you take your game to the next level. Talk to you soon. I want to take a couple minutes today and talk to you guys about some questions that come up a lot from our customers, right? We always feel that if several people are asking about it, there's probably a lot more people that just don't even think to ask the questions, that are making assumptions as they go along. So today we're going to take some time and we are going to talk about caulk. And I have three main objectives for this presentation. The first is to discuss what the most common types of caulk are that are on the market. That's the first objective. The second objective is to discuss where the best use of each of those caulks are. Where's the best place you should use them and what applications should you be using that specific caulk in. And then the third objective for this video is for me to actually be able to make it through this video without dying of laughter and actually just being able to get it done. So those are my three main objectives. We'll see how we do. Hopefully we'll do pretty good, right? I mean, nobody ever says they want to sell caulk when they're younger, but you know, here we are later in life discussing caulk on a video. But I guess in today's world, I guess I'm just like I don't know. Okay, anyways, let's get on with this. So there's four major types of caulking that you're going to run into in the world, right? So if you're going into a home center or a distributor, there's four primary different types of caulk that you're going to have to choose from. Now, the first one I don't have here because it does not really pertain to countertops. And that first type of caulking is a polyurethane caulking. Now, polyurethanes excel in outdoor applications. This is a caulking that you're going to use if you were sealing in windows and doors and flashing and exterior trim. That is where the polyurethane caulkings excel. They hold up great to the weather. They hold up great to the sun. They're a very durable caulk. They can take a beating and they will keep doing what they are supposed to be doing. Now, we don't really use polyurethanes in the countertop world, so I don't have that here. So polyurethanes, your first caulk category that you're going to run into, but we're not going to use it much in the countertop world. So let me discuss the three types of caulking that you're going to see in the countertop world. Now, the first is going to be your acrylic latex. Most people are familiar with DAP. It's the most common acrylic latex probably in the world, for sure here in the United States. And acrylic latexes are used for caulking in joints that need to get painted, right? So if you were to be caulking in a crack in the drywall, you would want to use a DAP latex. It's very flexible, it goes in there, it accepts paint very well, the paint bonds to it, and it just creates a great finish that is paintable and looks very aesthetically pleasing. Now, where you can use in the DAP caulking or an acrylic latex in the countertop world is if you were to be putting a backsplash up against a sheetrock wall, you would use DAP caulking on that top joint where the top of the backsplash meets the drywall. And that's because the DAP will do a great job of filling that crack, and then your painter is going to be able to come in and paint right down onto that caulk line and give it a really nice, clean, finished look. So that is where the DAP excels. So generally with DAP, you are using it in cracks that join two unlike surfaces, right? So you've got the backsplash and the sheetrock. Those are two unlike surfaces, and the sheetrock is going to be painted. So DAP is your choice for that application. Now, the second type of caulking is a silicone caulking. At Big Dog Adhesives, they recently made an acquisition of a company called Axiom. If you're in the countertop world, you know Axiom most likely for their colored silicones. So Axiom has a line of colored silicones. So in addition to the most common silicones that you see, like a clear, a translucent white, or a white, Axiom has a whole lineup of various colors so that you can use to match the colors of the joint that you're trying to fill. Now, if you're a fabricator and you just want to stock some silicones on your truck, probably the most common ones that I would stock would be a white, a clear, and a translucent white. I feel if you are going to be filling anything that is like a countertop, a backsplash to a countertop, translucent white probably can be used 90% of the time. And the translucent white just kind of obscures the light as it comes into the caulking, and it really pulls the color out of the two pieces it's kind of joining, and it just kind of blends in really nice. So I personally believe a translucent white is one of your best all-around silicone colors to blend everything. Now, if you want to get an exact match in that joint, you're going to either need to go with a colored silicone or go with a white or a black silicone if that is the color of the material you're working on. Now, silicones should be used when you are joining like surfaces together. So if you have a backsplash that's meeting a deck and that set-on backsplash is there, you will use a silicone to seal that joint. You can also use silicones to seal in sinks, seal around plumbing on the countertops. Anywhere that you need to have a really good seal, silicone is your choice. Now, if you're like me, for many, many years, silicone was kind of your all-around caulk that you kind of used everywhere. We have bonded sinks to countertops with silicone and it had mechanical fasteners on it. I can't tell you how many showers with solid surface panels we have used silicone on to bond those panels to the wall. Technically, silicone is where it excels at is sealing. It's really not a structural adhesive that is going to perform as well as the next type of caulk we're going to talk about. Silicone is mostly meant as a sealant for sealing areas, right? If you're caulking in that joint in the backsplash, you're sealing it so that water doesn't run under the backsplash and out the back of the countertop. That being said, in my career, I have probably used silicone to seam on over, I don't know, 5,000 to 6,000 sinks, vanity sinks, and then had a mechanical fastener as a backup, and we've had no failures. We've always let that silicone set up overnight before we go out and install the countertops. There's been no issues, right? But it should not be something that you are using if you are really counting on a structural bond. If you're really are wanting a structural bond and you really want to take your game to the next level, you're going to want to look at an MS polymer caulking. And a MS polymer caulking is a caulking that has some structural integrity to it. So if you really want to get a good bond and bond that sink to the countertop, use an MS polymer. If you are putting wall panels on a wall, like solid surface wall panels, or you're applying backsplash, the MS polymer is going to get that bond and hold. It is extremely strong, and that is what it's designed for. Now, when you're using these guys, one thing I want to point out, they all work the same. They're all available in these 10-ounce caulk tubes. They all fit in a standard caulk gun. If you look at this, the DAP, I can squeeze this DAP tube with my fingers. I can squeeze it in. I can squeeze the silicone in with my 2 fingers. When it comes to the polymer, I can squeeze, and this thing doesn't even hardly budge. And that is because when it comes to viscosity and thickness, the DAP and the silicone are very thin caulks. The MS polymer is a very thick caulk, and that is because of its structural properties. You're going to put it on, you're going to bond that material to it, it is going to tack. You've got maybe 15 minutes of work time before that guy starts to really tack up and hold. Whereas with the silicones, it's a very thin, more watered down, and same with the DAP, they're much thinner caulks. So, standard caulk gun will work with all of these. We get a lot of people asking, well, what should I use? Does it take a special gun? We just bought Axiom, right? So we're starting to get these questions. And no, the Axiom, the colored silicones and the high tack come in a standard 10-ounce caulk tube. You just put it into your standard caulk gun that you can get at Home Depot, Lowe's, or your supply company, and they all fit in there. The one thing I would say, your standard caulk gun, it will work great with a latex or a silicone, right? You can squeeze it out, it's a thin caulk, you can put that bead down, you can do that all day long and there's no issues. However, if you start working with a very thick caulk like this MS Polymer, and let's say you have a shower panel project where you're gonna have to put in just dozens and dozens of dabs of MS Polymer on the wall to get those panels to stick, I would highly suggest you guys make an investment in a battery-powered caulk gun, right? I mean, you pull the trigger, it automatically feeds in there, the gun does all of the work. If you are having to squeeze out this polymer over time, I mean, you are gonna get a workout and a half trying to squeeze this thick caulk out the tube, and your arm and your grip is going to be so tired, you're gonna pay for it the next day. So with the polymers, if you're gonna start using those, which I recommend, you can of course keep doing the silicone like you've always done, but when it comes to the panels and things like that, I would highly consider you guys look at the high tack, right? We're gonna be going out onto a job site with a fabricator, just kind of showing the difference between the two while they're installing some panels. I think we got that scheduled in like 4 or 5 weeks. They have a project coming up. If you're using the MS Polymer, I highly invest making the $260 investment into a battery-powered caulk gun. It is going to be a lifesaver when you are working with a very thick caulk like the MS Polymer. It will absolutely wear you out and you will be sore and exhausted the next day pulling the trigger on a manual gun. Now, that's kind of the types of caulk that are on the market. That is kind of where they are used. Again, a quick recap. Acrylic latexes should be used between unlike materials where one of them is going to be painted and you need a paintable caulk that goes in the joint. The silicones are great for sealing, like around sinks or plumbing faucets or around shower fixtures. You can also use it to seal the joints in your backsplash. Silicones are meant as a sealant and they excel at that. You can get them in white, translucent white, black, and there are also companies like Axiom that you can get from Big Dog Adhesives that make colored silicones. The fourth type is the MS Polymer, and that is more of a structural adhesive that is used for bonding like backsplashes to walls or full height backsplash to walls or shower panels. Anywhere you need some structural integrity, that is where the polymers excel. Now, one thing we get asked a lot is, okay, on the high tacks, a little bit more expensive silicone, right? Same with on the Axioms that are the colored silicone, it's more of a specialty silicone. So we get asked, what is the best way that we should preserve our silicones, right? If we use half this tube, and this tube is, kind of expensive, how do we make sure that we get to use the second half the next day we go out? So basically what I recommend, had a little bit of a malfunction there. I was rolling off the cover and it just shot right off the tip of the caulk there. So going back, what I recommend is this acrylic latex here. They've used probably 3 inches of this caulk and they've still got 6 inches here that's left to be used. They don't want this 6 inches to get hard and be unusable. So how do we keep this caulk soft so that we can use it later? Well, I recommend using these little covers. You can order them on Amazon. I actually think they're called caulk condoms, and basically you just put it on the tip and you just roll it down and that will keep the air out. It'll keep your caulk soft and it'll be usable later on. These are the best solutions that I have found for preserving your caulk and making sure that it does not get hard so that you can use it later. So those are kind of summing up the questions that I wanted to address with this video here. I think we covered the 2 main topics, and we We did make it through and achieve goal number 3, which was to not die laughing and make it through this. And let me tell you, at the end, it was very difficult to keep a straight face, but I think we kept this professional. I think you guys learned a lot about caulk. I think you guys know which caulk to pick in which situation now. And like I say, if you guys have any questions or you want to make a phone call, give me a call. I'd be happy to talk with you about any of the adhesives that Big Dog Adhesives makes, including caulk, and we can help you find the right application for your project so that you guys can be more successful. So that's all I got for right now. If you guys have any questions, give me a call.